Yuki and Rengoku decided to walk around the outside of the mansion, finally getting some time alone after the Hashira meeting, as well as Tanjiro's trial. The first bit of their walk was quiet, neither of them saying much. They both needed to clear their mind, especially Yuki. After a while, Rengoku finally broke the silence. "Are you doing all right, Yuki?" "Oh, yeah, I'm all right. Just a bit shaken up after that meeting." "I understand. That must have been scary to have Sanemi try and attack you like that." "It was terrifying. The entire time I was telling everyone about my true nature and past. I was fearing for my life. It was right for me to fear, though, even though I wish I didn't have to in that moment. Thank you, by the way." "Why are you thanking me?" "You protected me from Sanemi when I didn't have time to react. You saved my life, Rengoku, and I couldn't be more grateful." Rengoku let out a hearty laugh before giving Yuki his signature smile. "There is no need for thanks. It was only right for me to protect you, since you were not finished telling your story." Yuki lightly began to blush at his sentiment, but brushed it aside. The two had walked a bit further up the path, soon coming across a bench. Rengoku asked if she'd like to sit for a while, and she agreed. They both sat on the bench, looking up into the sky. The sky was a bright blue with only a few white clouds floating in its expanse. Yuki took in the sunlight, taking in a deep breath of the warm air, letting it relax her mind. Rengoku stared at her while she had her eyes closed, admiring her, but cleared his throat to catch her attention. "You don't have to answer if you are not comfortable, but what exactly can you do with your powers? You didn't go into detail during the meeting." Yuki was caught off guard by the question, but looked at him with a serious expression. "In all honesty, I have a few different abilities. It's possible I could gain more as I grow stronger, but I'm not sure about that for now. All I know about my powers so far is that I can see the strength of other demons and have super speed and strength." "I guess that would explain how you beat Tengen in that fight against him." She lightly chuckled at his statement, looking back up at the sky. "Yeah, it was a nice feeling to defeat him in combat, even though I didn't feel like it was a true victory since I used my powers. It feels more like I cheated." "Why would you consider that cheating? You're using your abilities to your advantage." "I don't know, it just felt unfair to me." She explains. She turned her gaze to Rengoku once more, a curiosity now in her eyes. "But other than that, I have a question for you, Rengoku." "What would that be?" Her eyes filled with guilt as they found their way to gaze at the ground. Why did you protect me from Sanmi?" He looked at her, his expression filled with surprise and a sadness as well. "Why wouldn't I protect you? You're a dear friend of mine. I wouldn't want any harm to come to you." "But you said that all demons needed to be eradicated. I thought that would also include me." "Why would that include you? Just because you have a small amount of demon blood in your system, it doesn't mean you're a demon." Yuki looked up at him in surprise, but a soft smile formed on her face. "Thank you, Kyochiro. That means a lot. I'm sorry for not telling you about my powers." Rengoku blushed hearing Yuki call him by his first name, but spoke in a soft tone. "There is no need for thanks, nor is there a need for an apology. I actually knew about your powers before that meeting." "You knew?" she asked, surprise in her tone. "For how long?" "Ever since we had left for the mission we went on." "Then how did you find out? I didn't use my powers until we had gotten to the location." "I ran into Guy while grabbing our supplies. He told me about your condition, as well as gave me your medicine, in case you lost control of your powers." "Then, if you knew for that long, Why not kill me when I was vulnerable? Yuki, I told you. Just because you have demon blood in your system, it doesn't mean you are a demon. Even after Giyu told me of your condition, it only made me see you as even more of a human, because you refuse to let that demonic urge control you. You fight through it as well as fight against Kibutsuji. You have your own mission to find your sister. That is what makes you a human in my eyes. Yuki blushed at his statement, tears welling up in the corners of her eyes. She had never been told anything like that before, not even from her family. The tears had started to fall as she looked up at Rengoku with a teary-eyed smile. Thank you. That's something I never expected to hear. Rengoku blushed, but lifted his hand up to wipe her tears away. He pulled her into his arms, letting her rest her head on his shoulder. He pulled her into a comforting hug, letting Yuki relax into his body. Yuki had nearly fallen asleep, but after he stopped hesitating, Rengoku finally decided to say something. Yuki, is it alright if I admit something to you? Of course, Kyotaro. What's on your mind? Rengoku felt his heart begin to race. He was getting nervous, but he took in a deep breath to calm his nerves. Well, if I'm being completely honest, He had begun to stutter from the building anxiety. Are you nervous? Yuki asked, looking up at him with a worried gaze. His breath hitched seeing her gaze, but he swallowed his fear and just decided to speak from the heart. I do have to admit I am slightly nervous, but this is something I've been wanting to say for a while. I just didn't know when the right time would be. Well, no matter what it is, I'm all ears. You don't need to be nervous talking to me. I know, He sighed, just deciding to say it directly. I have feelings for you. Yuki felt her chest tighten, but her eyes widened in surprise. You... what? I have had feelings for you, Yuki. I have for a while now, but I've been too nervous to say anything until now. She felt her face flush once more. She thought she had misheard him, but she was relieved to know she hadn't. I guess I wasn't the only one harboring feelings then, she sheepishly admitted. You have feelings for me as well? Rengoku questioned, his tone filled with surprise. Yeah, I guess we were both oblivious to each other, she joked with an embarrassed giggle. I guess so, but I'm glad to know that you reciprocate my feelings. I'm glad too. I don't know how I would have reacted if you didn't feel the same. Rengoku chuckled at her statement, but lifted her chin up gently, looking deep into her eyes. Do you mind if I do something real quick? No, I don't mind, she said with a nervous laugh. Rengoku chuckled and closed the gap between them both, locking lips with Yuki. She was surprised by the sudden kiss, but she closed her eyes and melted into his touch. The moment felt like it lasted forever, and each moment was pure bliss. Neither of them wanted it to end. After a minute, they finally separated. They both had large smiles on their faces, as well as a blush. Yuki looked into his eyes before she locked their arms together. So, do you want to continue our walk, or stay here a little while longer? I'm fine with whatever you'd like, my little snowflake. The two spent the rest of the day with each other, talking for hours until the sun went down. Once it was dark, they finally split up for the night. They agreed to keep their newfound relationship secret until they were ready to share. They returned to their rooms, but Yuki passed Mitsuri on the way back, the blush still on her face. Mitsuri knew that look and told Shinobu and Giyu what she saw. Neither of them were surprised by that, but couldn't help but feel happy for Yuki. They told Master Ubuyashiki, asking him to set up a mission for the two of them to go on together. And the master said if Rengoku asked for backup on one, he would send Yuki so they could both have a pleasant surprise.